Jeremy was little and Anita at that time, and I thought, God, what am I taking my kids into? These people are really strange, right? I mean, they were strange. And we were in this church for about a year. It was very hard going. And then I got involved. I rented a place that was about half the size of this. We ran a coffee house. There were hundreds of young people on the street at that time in Canada and America. It was sort of during the Vietnam War. There was rebellion and all kinds of stuff. People were running away from home. And so we had this coffee house, and then we found a number of Christian young people living in young people in one house, young men and young women in another. So there were about 80 young people all living in these homes and places. And I did my very best to keep them away from this church, because I figured this church will ruin these people. They'll go nuts if they have to go to this church, right? And so anyway, this preacher came up from California, and he was there for a week and brought a bunch of young people with him. In the course of that week, they brought all these young people that we had been keeping away from the church. They brought them all into the church, right? And we went from having 5 people in the youth group to having 100 people in the youth group in a week, right? But then God was very faithful to what he said, because what happened was we had a tremendous outpouring of the Holy Spirit. We had 1 year, we water baptized 1,000 new believers. We actually had at least 2,000 people got saved, but we water baptized 1,000 people. And amongst them, people went to different countries to be missionaries. Some are still pastors and involved in Christian ministry. But there was a real move of the Holy Spirit here in Alberta. We saw churches planted here in Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Calgary, Edmonton, Red Deer, all over the place. There were churches planted as that revival was going on and moving through. So it was a very exciting time.
Yeah, and you were very busy during that time.
I was very busy. I was working as an insurance broker, and 5 nights a week I worked for the church.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you keep that kind of balance between work, family, and church?
Well, it's very hard. But one of the things was my family actually liked what was going on, which was good. When your kids say to you, we should go to church, you realize that something good must be happening, right? We should go to church today. And every night we'd have meetings every night, because this kept on and on going. And our kids would all the time be saying, let's go to church tonight because we don't want to miss this, right? Maybe something good will happen and we'll miss it, right? And so it was very hard. Eventually I couldn't keep the balance. And so I stepped out of secular work because I just didn't have time to do both.
Right.
I had to believe God.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I have a couple other questions here that I would like to give you. Just what are the basic things you think every Christian should know?
Well, hallelujah. I think the basic things every Christian should know, first of all, they should know they're a Christian.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the beginning, right? They should know and understand the grace of God, right? They should know that there is no better textbook for anything you learn than the Bible itself. You can't beat it. They should know that Christian life is not dull, right? I have had a very exciting life being a Christian. I've been arrested and all kinds of things. It's fun. Right? So, you think about these things, right? Every Christian should know that the Holy Spirit is in them and working through them.
Right.
Maybe the last thing is every Christian should know that they have a destiny in God.
Good. Excellent.
And get a hold of it.
Excellent.
Right?
Good. What would you say? What was I going to say? Oh yes. What would you say are the best things you've done in your life up to this point?
The best things I've done in my life.
Yeah.
I got married. That was probably the best thing that I did, right? Because I wouldn't do well without my wife, so I got married. That was good. The best things I've done in my life is I have lived long enough to see my prophecies come to pass.
Mm.
Right? When I go to different countries, go to different churches, and say, this is what you prophesied, this is where it is, there it is. You said we're going to have 5 outreach churches, we got 5 outreach churches. And to be able to see that in people's lives,
Yeah.
and to see it in churches and countries,
Yeah.
for me is great.
That's
Right?
excellent.
That's the best I've done,
Yeah.
right, is to do what God told me to do. Go be a prophet to the nations, and then see it work.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're going to take another day, actually, another time. I think it would be really good. I'd like to actually interview you about prophetic ministry in specific. I have some questions here that we're not going to get to. One last question, and then actually we're going to pray for you guys, because most of us don't know this, but because I haven't told you yet, we're going to lose them for 6 weeks here to the UK. And so we want to pray for Keith and Nova before they go for the next 6 weeks. But my last question here is this. What are you looking forward to doing in the future?
Well, I'm looking forward in the future to working in Asia, in Europe, and in Alberta. I am looking forward to discipling young men and young women. I'm looking forward to seeing them plant churches all over the world. That's what I'm looking forward
Excellent.
to. Right? Beginning
Excellent.
here and going out there.
That's excellent. It's wonderful.
That's what's in my heart.
Well, I want to thank you for taking my questions tonight. I think it's really been good. I think it's been good for all of us just to get a little bit of gleaning.